Now the next thing is about arteries, veins and capillaries. Now, like I told you, arteries always carry blood away from the heart and under high pressure. And if you look at the blood flow in an artery, it flows in pulses. You know, when the ventricle is contracting, the pressure in the artery will increase. And when the ventricle is relaxed, the pressure will decrease. So the blood in an artery flows in pulses. And if you feel an artery near your thumb, on the wrist, or near your, just below your jaw, you will feel the pulse in the artery. The artery will keep pulsating. But veins will not have any pulse. That's because the pressure in the artery is directly changing when the ventricle contracts and relaxes. Is it clear? Now, in the veins, the pressure is much lower and it's smooth. It doesn't pulsate. It doesn't fluctuate. It's a constant low pressure. And in the capillaries, the pressure is decreasing as the blood moves from the arteries towards the veins. Now, blood will always flow from arteries into capillaries, capillaries into veins. Is it clear? Then, let's look at the structure of the artery. Now, the artery wall will have 3 layers. The outermost layer is called tunica externa, and it's made up of collagen fibers and connective tissue. It's a very strong layer which prevents the artery wall from bursting due to the high pressure. Okay, then inside that you have another layer, the second layer, which is called tunica media, and the tunica media is made up of smooth muscles and elastic fibers. It allows the artery walls to stretch and then to recoil, to contract and push the blood forward. Clear? And the innermost layer is the tunica intima, and it's made up of a single layer of epithelial cells. It's a very smooth layer which allows the blood to flow with low friction. Clear? So this is the tunica intima. It's a single layer of endothelial cells. Now, then there's a very narrow lumen in which the blood flows. Is it clear now? Likewise, in the veins, you have the same 3 layers, but they are very thin, and the lumen is very wide. So the walls of the veins are much thinner, and there's a very low pressure on the walls. That's why the walls can be thinner. Secondly, the lumen is very wide, and that's why the pressure is low. Next, in the vein, you have valves to prevent the backflow of blood. So once the blood passes a valve, it can't flow back because these valves will close. Clear? These are called semilunar valves. And right all along the veins, there will be these valves. In the artery, there's only one valve at the origin. That's the semilunar valve in the heart. Anywhere else along the length of the artery, there will be no valves. Is it clear? And in the capillaries, there's only one layer of cells, just a single layer of cells in the capillary walls, which we call as the endothelium. And it's got pores. The capillary wall has pores through which tissue fluid can be formed and reabsorbed. This also you'll be learning about. Is it clear? And capillaries are very, very narrow. Okay. Now, let's look at some of the other comparisons between arteries, veins and capillaries. Now, the function of the artery is to carry blood away from the heart, always. Capillaries function is to allow exchange of gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, food, and waste products between the blood and the cells and the tissue fluid. Okay. Then veins carry blood towards the heart, from the tissues towards the heart. First comparison. Second one, arteries have thick walls to withstand the high pressure. Veins have very thin walls because pressure is low, and the walls of the capillaries are made up of a single layer of cells. Clear? Next, lumen in the artery is very small. In the capillaries, extremely small lumen. Just one layer of cells can pass through. The blood cells have to line up. The capillary lumen is so narrow. Okay? And the veins have a larger lumen so that the blood can easily flow. Okay? Next, in the arteries, no valves. Capillaries, no valves, but veins have valves all along their length to prevent backflow. Then when it comes to pressure, I told you pressure in the artery keeps fluctuating. It pulsates. Pressure in the veins is very low and smooth, not much changes. And in the capillaries, the pressure decreases as the blood moves from arteries to vein. Clear? Then finally, I told you the pulmonary artery is the only artery which carries deoxygenated blood. All other arteries carry oxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries oxygenated blood. All other veins carry deoxygenated blood. And as the blood flows from arteries to veins, in the capillaries, the blood gets deoxygenated except in the lungs. In the lungs it gets oxygenated. Is it clear?